Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm here with Joey Ash, or Joe Ash. And Joe is an expert on do-it-yourself lifestyle. And before I ask, because I have a question, I want to ask you to explain what that really means to us. But before I do that, I want to just share with people that I met Joe, I think roughly about 2 years ago. And when I met Joe, he was telling me, he said, I call him the Bitcoin guy for a long time, because he'd say, hey, you know what? There's this thing called Bitcoin and you need to buy Bitcoin. And I said, well, what's Bitcoin? He's like, you need to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is something that they're using now. It's the latest thing. And if you get Bitcoin right now, it's going to go up. It's going up. I'm like, how much is a Bitcoin? Because he got me interested in Bitcoin. So I said, how much is a Bitcoin? He said, it's $600 a Bitcoin. I'm like, $600 Bitcoin. And then he said, and I knew nothing about Bitcoin. So he goes, I said, well, what is it specifically? He's like, when you buy Bitcoin, you give me the $600. I'll give you a digital number. And I'm like, a digital number. And he's like, yeah, you get this digital number. And he started explaining to me blockchain and all this stuff, all foreign to me. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, it sounds great. And Bitcoin was at a point, it was lower and they had reached 600. And I'm like, wait, it's at $600. So is it going to go any higher? And he's like, yeah, it's going to go higher. And, long story short, I did not buy. And about a year later, almost a year later, I called Joe up on the phone. I said, hey, Joe, you got that Bitcoin for $600 left? And he's like, no, it's at 17,000 now. And I'm like, whoa. And I knew it was around that time. And before we know it, it was the big thing. It was at about close to 20,000 and it started dropping. Please tell me and tell everyone here, what does it mean by what you do?
Well, since I was little boy, like when I was like 14-year-old, I was born in Russia. And obviously I see stuff around my life that I didn't like. And I said, how am I going to change my life? Like your past or your present doesn't determine your future. If you're born in the country that you don't want to live in, you shouldn't live there. If you have a parents, they teach you something it's not your lifestyle, it's not the way how you want to create your life, you shouldn't listen to your parents. If you have a relationship which is you're not happy, you should get out of your relationship. You have a right to live the life you want. Unfortunately, most people, when they're born and they grow up, they don't have any guidance how to live the life. So they kind of copy paste what the other people do. You do what your friends do, you do what your parents did, you do what your neighborhood does. And unfortunately, it creates mediocre results because let's face it, most people don't have the money they want, don't have a relationship they want. Hey, most people don't live in the country they want to live, right? So I was obsessed how you create your life. I was obsessed with the idea that life shouldn't happen random. You should plan your life and then you can enjoy the fruits of the life because you plan it and you see it.
You saw the video that I did with Josh, and Josh is an entrepreneur. He went from 0 to 1.6 million in less than a year, about a year or so. And you reached out to me and said, hey, let's talk. And you said, hey, I'd love to do an interview with you and talk about the difference between an entrepreneur and an investor, because clearly you're an investor and you've done really, really well in investing. And I remember one time you told me, I was sitting with you, I think it was in Florida, we were sitting and we was having lunch, and you told me, hey, you can put anybody in front of me and I can take them and give them the psychology and how to create wealth. And I said, that's amazing. How do you do it? Then we got into a long conversation that I'm not going to share now, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to share that. So the first thing I want you to do is tell me what you see the difference between an entrepreneur and an investor is, because you've actually shared a lot with me. And I agree with some of the points you've shared with me and some I don't, but please share that with us now.
Well, there's a totally different philosophy about being entrepreneur and being investor. Look, life is statistic, right? You want to have odds in your favor. We know statistically 97% businesses fell in 10 years. More than 50% fell in 2 years. So odds to create successful business, not very big, right? Most people start business not because they want to make a lot of money, if they think they want to make a lot of money, but most of them it's a passion. It's something that you want to do, you like, you think it's going to work because you're good in it and people will love what you do. And I totally respect it. And I start my own businesses, but it's mostly to fulfill your own passion. If you want to create money, statistically, I think people like Elon Musk or Zuckerberg or Warren Buffett or Bill Gates did it a little better than me and you together. So why should I try to recreate the wheel if I can invest my money, which is I have, in a company who has proven record of making billions and billions of dollars while I can enjoy my life, travel, learn, and make more money doing something that I do like. I mean, you have a choice between sacrifice your lifestyle and work long hours and job you don't like because you want to have a money, right? Or you want to live the lifestyle you like, right? And then you lose the money. So I'm saying, why don't do both? Why you don't sacrifice your job, high-paid job? You do what you like, but the every little money that you have, you put aside and you invest in with the people who have proven record.
Okay. A lot of my audiences are actors, and which is great. Actors are who I like to cater this to, because you shared something with me in Florida when you said that you can help anyone to design a wealthy mindset. Can you share that with us now? What's the difference between a wealth mindset and a mindset that's not a wealth mindset?
Well, it's very simple. We live in, especially in America, we live in very over-consumer society. People always tell you that you must have new iPhone, you must have BMW, you must have that, you must have that. For instance, now in the time of the health crisis in the United States, especially down there where you live in New York, right? People realize very quick we don't need a lot. Actually, you need the shelter, you need the food, right? You need your health, and you need safety, right? Everything else is extra. So hopefully, it will reset the mindset of average person to understand safety and ability to be sustainable is the most important thing in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So versus when you're trying to spend money on your iPhone, think if this iPhone will buy you bread or pay you rent when you're going to be unemployed for 1 month. What if the money that you spend on an iPhone, $1,000, if you just put in some fund and let it grow for 20 years, this $1,000 become $20,000. Now, let me ask you, George, a very simple question. If I tell you this iPhone costs not $1,000, but potentially $20,000, would you buy it? Probably not.
No, I wouldn't.
So there was many studies about success and how you can spot success even between kids in the kindergarten. And one of the most important thing, in opposite what people think, it's not intelligence, because there are so many intelligent people who are not successful. Mm-hmm. One of the most important things in being successful is ability to delay gratification. For instance, there was a studies, 3 kids was giving cookies, right? We're giving cookies, and you have a choice between get 1 cookie, or wait 1 hour and get 2 cookies, or wait 1 day and get 5 cookies. So the kids who is able to wait 1 day to get a 5 cookies become more successful people when they grow up. It's ability to be sustainable, to go to your dream. Your goal is to be guard and guard your mind and know what your goals, what your financial goals, and what your life goals.
I had someone actually share this with me at one point. He's like, hey, you know what? Apple is super successful right now. And if you had bought Apple stock back when Apple first started off, when they went public, and if you had bought a stock back then, or even not even then, when Apple came out, when Steve Jobs came back and he started doing these different color Macs, and everyone went, I want the pink one, I want the blue one, and so on. And they said that if you had taken that same amount of money, I think at the time it was like $600 or $1,000 that it was for one of those Apple computers. If you had taken that money and actually invested into the stocks, you would be about a millionaire at this time. And I was like, very interesting. If you delayed and just bought the stock instead of buying the actual computer, because the computer depreciates in value as time goes by, where their stock increases in value. That's what I'm getting at, as you're saying, as an investor. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to, instead of buying this computer that everyone wants to buy right now, I'll just wait and invest in the stock and then wait for me to actually get the passive income that I can actually then use that to buy the computer.
Exactly. So basically, by investing your money in a stock, you actually share financial success with somebody who actually does the job, right? Mm-hmm. He's the one who run the company. He's the one who created the iPhone. He's the one who made the marketing. George does nothing. He just paid the money and sit and relax. Mm-hmm. Isn't it a great idea?
Okay, I get that. So now let me go into this real quick with you. So There's a challenge that most actors face. And what they face is like when they first start out, not when they're successful and everybody knows the name, their household name, and they're commanding what they command. So you got actors, and I've known some actors that is not a household name, but they're making six figures. There are actors who are just starting off, and they either having to work a job like as a waitress or waiter or anything else that in that nature, so that can then fuel and finance their dream. But the challenge that they run into, or the problem that they run into, is that they're working for 8 hours for somebody, and then they got to go focus on their acting, and it leaves no time really for them to focus on their acting, because then they may take a class or two, and then so what happens is they find themselves working for many years trying to get to where they want to go as an actor, but because they're not able to focus on acting 24 hours a day or 24/7. And acting, from what I've learned from my coaches, that you have to focus on it 24 hours a day. Or as an actor, when I'm working on a character, I have to focus on the character 24 hours a day. When I first learned that, that's the amount of time you need to put in. I was like, how do you focus on 24 hours a day? You have to sleep. And we learn the process and how to do that while you're sleeping. So you're still thinking on it while you're sleeping. And we know that from the environment that we're in, is that whatever you focus on continuously, your brain and your unconscious mind starts to work on. And whether you're sleeping or awake, it's still focused on that, and it's moving towards that goal. So if you have an actor that does not have a strategy, and what their strategy is I'm gonna work 8 hours at this restaurant, and then I'm gonna take a little nap, and then I'm gonna go get up and go focus on my class, and then get up and go out and start looking for auditions to do, and my whole time is consumed with that. How can we create a strategic plan and freedom for them?
Well, I've been in those shoes, not necessarily being actors, but I was student working two jobs, and I was student when I was full-time student, so I can compare. A lot of people might not like what I'm gonna say, but I'm saying you have to play strategic. See, to be actress, in my point, it's just like to be a doctor or a lawyer. It's a career, which is if you put yourself in all, you go all the way in, but you don't get to the end, it's worthless. Nobody needs a doctor who doesn't have a license. Nobody needs a lawyer who doesn't have a license. Nobody needs an actor who doesn't have a career. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not halfway job. It's very unique path. So your ability to sustain mistakes almost zero. You gotta make it. You have no choice now. You cannot rely on luck. You cannot rely, maybe I will have money, maybe I won't have money, maybe I will quit in the middle because I need to go make more money. So I would say you need to work on your financial stability first. Instead of working 8 hours on your job and 8 hours go study, work 16 hours, but don't get lazy. Don't say I'm drop my school, so I'm gonna go party, right? Take this 8 hours. If you stop going to school, put it in work, start making money. Be obsessed with making money. Be even more obsessed with saving those money, because every dollar that you're saving now gives you $1.10 in a year, and gives you $2 in the 5 years to pursue your dream, to pursue something that you wanted.
Let me
So
ask.
again, delay your dream for a year or two or three. Get the money and then go all the way. Know that you earn it. You have nothing to worry about. You have no choice. When you start, you need to finish. So you want to make sure your base straight. You cover all your corners. It's very important.
Right now we're talking strategy. So if strategically you're saying someone should take a year or maybe longer to position themselves financially so they can actually go ahead and pursue their acting. Now, what's the specific strategy that someone can do to create that financial stream actually to make sure that that's happening for them?
Well, first of all, I'm very big on downshifting. So you basically cut all the expenses, you work and you save the money, and the money that you save depends how long time you have. Year, 2, 5 years, or 10 years, you invest in different things. You have to put your money outside of your bank. You have to put your money working for you. If you don't understand anything about investing, go buy index S&P 500. Invest in NASDAQ. Invest in the company that you like, that you think there is a future for them, right? And again, it might drop. And if it's dropped in the time that you need to go to school, yeah, it's not going to work. But hey, it's happened every 10 years. So you
Okay.
may be unlucky and it didn't happen at the time you want to go to school. But statistically, stock market in the United States, conservative give you 6-7% a year, which is 7 times more than you chase with Bank America bank willing to give you, right? And it sounds like not a lot, but when you start seeing this money grow little by little, trust me, every dollar, every $10, every $100, every $200 will make you happy because it's going to change you, shift your perspective. Your mindset going to be different. You're going to see you building it up. It's like basically like your career being actress. I mean, you basically want to go to Hollywood and Oscar and all that, but don't every small thing you're going to get make you super happy, especially in the beginning.
So let me ask you a question. What would you say to someone that's going to say, hey, you know what, getting into the stock market really is a risk. It's a gamble. I don't know this. I'm going into the stock market. I have no idea what to choose. And you tell me choose company that I like, and I choose a company that I like and it tanks. I'll give you an example. I own Snapchat. Snapchat, when I bought it, it was going up a little bit. And so I was like, oh, I bought it because I like Snapchat. And I look at it, Snapchat is the future. The kids are using Snapchat. My niece loves Snapchat. She won't get on Instagram, but she will get on Snapchat. So I'm like, well, Snapchat's the future. Let me invest in the future. I invested in it. And, you know, with this crisis happening right now, it went down a little bit. I'm still making money on it, which is great. It's not a lot, though. It's a few bucks more than what I bought it for. It's like maybe $3 more than what I bought it for. It's actually, that's half of what I bought it for. I bought it for about $6. So
Well, if you want to talk about Snapchat specifically, it's a cool concept. It's a very good application. I use it as well. The question which all experts were starting ask questions even 2 years ago, guys, how do you make money? How do you monetize your product? So the concept is very cool. So you know what? Let me correct myself. Yes, the company that you like, but the company that you like should also make money. Like for example, Tesla doesn't make a lot of money, all right? But it's still driven by the personality of Elon Musk. Hopefully, so I'm saying Tesla, yes, it's risky, but hopefully it's gonna make money, and because he's dominated the market of electric cars, supposedly it's a winner. But again, if you're skeptical, if you don't know who to believe, who not to believe, what you really like, go buy S&P 500 index. Every financial advisor will tell you how to do that. Then you invest basically in 500, the biggest company in the United States of America. I think it's pretty bad, unless you're betting that all this country go bankrupt.
So that's a conservative way to go about it, which is great.
If you want to be more conservative, there's a Russell 2000. It gives you 2,000 for the industrial companies in the United States, the biggest one. For me, it's too conservative because you invest in the best, but you also invest in the biggest. And the biggest usually don't have the potential to grow. I mean, how much money you think Ford can make anymore? It's an established company, right? How much McDonald's can grow is established company. So you want to be like, yes, you want to be conservative to invest in a big company which is not going to go bankrupt, but you don't want to invest in a company with 200 years of record because they probably have no room to grow. So I think S&P 500 is a sweet spot between Russell 2000, I would say, in NASDAQ, which is high-tech technology company like Tesla, like Amazon, Netflix, which is a cool idea. Some of them work beautiful, some of them unfortunately not.
I just want to clear this up for the audience, basically, because we're talking about something that's conservative, and when we look at that, we have a conservative bucket that is there that we put in. It has slow growth, but in the end, towards the end, it's going to grow, and it's like a snowball effect. As it gets bigger, it gets bigger, and it keeps getting bigger, and we work on the compound interest with that. And then the second thing is we have something that it's a risk bucket. So we have the conservative bucket that's the stable bucket for us. And then we have a risk bucket that we can take and put X amount of dollars, and that can grow faster, and it can crash faster. Okay, I got the conservative bucket. We got that. S&P 500. Now, I know it's not that simple to tell someone, just go invest in the S&P 500. There's more to it than that. We're just touching on the tip of the iceberg. Now, if I'm looking at the risk bucket, what would you say about the risk bucket? Where would we be looking at for the risk bucket?
Well, it depends on the season. You know, we're in different seasons. As we're talking now, is this Corona crisis.
Yeah, we're in winter.
What do you think I see clearly? Oil is the lowest point in the last 25 years. Okay, oil is not sustainable. You can't, the production of oil is not sustainable. The prices that we have, it has to go up. Again, I may be wrong. Again, maybe world will crash to the zero and people will stop using oil and everybody goes solar panel. I just don't see it because the rest of the world don't live in the United States. They live in the third world countries and they depend on oil. So I think investing in oil at the moment, it's safe bet.
Hold on. Just stop for a quick second, because I just want to. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure, because for me, it's funny. I thought about oil. When you talk about oil, you're talking about the gas company, right? Because I mean,
No, I'm not talking about the company. I'm talking about investing in the index of oil prices.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't want to invest in Shell. I don't want to invest in British Petroleum. I don't trust this company. I don't know what's going to happen to them.
Oh no, okay, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about, because I thought about it, because I know that oil right now. My brother, he's in Massachusetts, and he was going to this place called Brockton in Massachusetts, and he called me up and said, "Hey, gas is $1 right now." I said, "What? Gas is $1?" And when gas was $1, I was like in middle school. And I remember
Exactly.
at 99 cents, you could, you can go $10, you could fill your tank. Now you can't do that. And I'm like, it's 99 cents. I'm like, my thing is, as soon as he told me that, I said, whoa, yeah, you know what? We need to invest in this, because as soon as this crisis is over, it's going to shoot up. And you want to get on there and ride that wave and then sell. That's what I'm looking at.
I can give you even more edge. Think about this. Forget the stock market. You're just a regular guy who have a regular car, who put the regular gas in his regular car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now oil is cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want to have money in a oil, in an index, which is, mimic the price of oil, knowing when the oil go up and you have to pay out $3 for the gallon again, you have this money because you bought oil at the price of Corona crisis.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not only I want to be rich because I invest in oil because oil now is cheap, I'm going to sell when it's expensive. It's also, hey, I'm on average using 100 gallon of oil a year. Why don't I buy them now and keep it on paper, right? It's like storing oil in your garage. It's the same thing.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying. I get it.
If you like McDonald's and you eat McDonald's all your life, and God forbid, I don't think you want to eat McDonald's all your life, but just in case you eat everyday burger, right? And you see the price of hamburger goes up every year and you want to protect yourself, right? Buy the stock of McDonald's. Your burger will go up, your McDonald's stock will go up. You're covered. That's how I look at the life.
That's a beautiful mindset to have. I just want to make sure that everyone can actually get this mindset and understand where you're coming from. And so I'm happy that you brought Tesla up, because I mean, for me, about a year ago, I was looking at Tesla and it was like close to $300. And then I looked at Tesla, I said, Tesla's like 260 right now. Do I want to buy Tesla or do I want to buy Facebook? And this is how I invest. I mean, I got some stocks that I bought, and I look at the stocks. I said, hey, you know what? I invest in technology because I understand technology. I love technology. I know technology is the future. Everyone's talking nanotechnology. A few years when they talked about solar panels, now we got solar panels on houses. And at that point in time, when they're talking about solar panels, I'm like, that's going to be the future. And they talked about cars that are basically, and I mean, we got hybrids now, but we talked about cars that don't use gas. I'm like, that's the future. So I'm looking at that, and that's how I always look at it. I look at my thing when I think about investing. I think about investing in the future because I understand it. Now, with that said, I looked at Tesla and I said, hey, Tesla 260 and Facebook was 154, I believe. So I was like, do I go with Tesla? And I know a little bit about Musk. So I'm like, do I go with Elon or do I go to Zuckerberg? I said, well, Zuckerberg has been doing this for a while. I grew up with Facebook. So knowing that, I like Facebook, and Facebook loves to make money. So I was like, let me go with Facebook because I love social media. So I went with Facebook. Facebook grew, it increased, but it didn't give me the margin that I wanted. Where a year later, I look at Musk and I'm looking at Tesla, and Tesla is now at $800. And I'm like, I had an opportunity to buy it at 260. and I didn't buy it. So now when the crisis hit, I'm like, it's an opportunity, you know, it's winter and people are going to be selling. And it's like, okay, cool. And the market went down and Tesla came down to about 3 something. And I'm like, as soon as they get to 200, I'm going to buy. And cause I'm like, yeah, it's going, I'm like, go ahead, go down, go down. And I'm like, yes, because I know it's going to shoot back up. It's going to boomerang. And it hit 300, 350 and it stabilized at that point. And today I looked at it, it's at 750 right now. And I'm like, if I had bought at 350, I'd have already doubled my money and then some. I look at it, I'm like, well, what was I doing? Was I really just trying to look at the market, try to buy it as low as possible? I mean, what would you say to someone like that? Because I didn't execute. I knew and I didn't execute.
First of all, you have to understand the psychology of person who put your money in your mouth is, it's totally different than somebody who talks about that. So as second you push the button and you get the stock, your psychology switches. You become obsessed with the company, you watch this company, you know the news about this company, you're sensitive to the price. You don't look at this every 6 months, you look at it every day or almost every day, right? So what I'm saying is, of course, you need to see the timing of the market. Like, for example, now is market, you know, it's opportunity, right? So now it's a good price to buy, basically, right? And then you have to know your risk tolerance, like when you're out of the game, if something goes wrong. And out of the game doesn't mean you quit. It means you stop. Like I usually, my game is 7%. I buy stock. I don't want to stock go down more than 7%. So guess what? Today I woke up in the morning, look at my cell phone, 20% of my portfolio sold, mazel tov. No worries, no problems, nothing too good. It was a pretty bad day, okay? And it's 7%, not from the point that I bought, but from the point that you ever got. So I bought it here, as I say, I bought it at $100, right? So I bought it at $100. I follow the stock, not me, the order, computer, when it's go up, and the maximum it's ever hit is at 150. As long as it go down 7% out of 150, not my 100, right? I'm out of the game. So doesn't mean that tomorrow morning I will watch the market say, you know what? It went down nice. Let me buy it again. So you don't have to be scared about losing money or obsessed if you're making money. You try to go with the flow. You can't really time the market. You really don't know. Nobody knows the future. Somebody will tell you knows the future. He's bullshitting you because nobody can't know the future. Nobody knew about this coronavirus even 2 months ago. Nobody knows the market will tank 30%, right? So you need to get yourself in the game a little by little, however you're comfortable there, and watch two things, the market and your emotions, how you react to the market. Because this factor makes you successful. When you know who you are, how you react, when you know the market.
So what you're doing is you're actually putting what's called a stop loss. So when it hits a certain point, and you're looking at where it peaks and then looking at the bottom, and you're saying, hey, if I bought it at 100 and it reaches 200 and 200 is the top, so I put a stop loss at 7% if it drops 7%.
Right, and most people don't use it because most people don't know about that. But there's a thing called trailing stops. Most brokerage company will help you to do that. So you say, look, I don't know how high it's going to go, but every day when it's going to higher, move my stop loss up.
Okay.
So you don't have to do it manually.
Okay. So you believe in having a broker to handle that for you?
Right. And I believe in a broker. If your broker doesn't have it, change your broker. Well, okay. Nowadays, commission's so low, to trade should cost you nothing, almost nothing. And your broker should be able to come with basically a la carte anything you want, George, about financial market. If for any question, the answer is no, and it's not because it's regulations, but because the broker says it's no, it's probably time to look for the different broker.
Okay, so I want to shift a little bit right now, because I mean, right now we're talking strategy, we're talking about the stock market, but your thing is you say, hey, bring me anyone, and I can give them a strategy on how to actually create wealth and passive income, so that way they can actually finance their dream or finance their life, you know. And so besides the stock market, and before I even go further, there was one more thing that you said to me, which was, in this time right now, you've made more money than, actually not, you've made more money, but also you said the only time that I ever really make money is during a crisis. So right now is Christmas for you. So tell me
Correct.
about that.
Well, again, week ago was the best week in the history of last 42 years in the United States and the stock market. The stock just skyrocketed, okay? Everything was on sale. Now, what I predict, I mean, for me, it's not the Christmas, which is one day. For me, it's more like Hanukkah, which is like 7 days, right? And that's how I see it, right? So first of all, you usually see the stock market crash. Now, stock market has nothing to do with economy. Economy, it doesn't hurt. Everything which is like the Tesla and McDonald's is still McDonald's, right? Nothing being changed, right? So all you see in the stock market, it's psychology of people react out of fear what's going to happen next. Statistically, what's going to happen next after stock market drops 6 months down the road, you see the crisis. You see the result of all these unemployed people. You see the small businesses, going down. When the economy going to be open up, people will get the money. They will scared to spend it because they just remember what happened. Okay, right? So it's the economy definitely going to be contracted. So this is 6 months down the road, and maybe 6 months down. Then after that, it usually you have more opportunity in the real estate market. Again, I could be wrong. It could be a different scenario. I'm talking to you what was working last 3 financial crises. So I'm talking about history of last say, I would say 20 years, right? So as for now, I see the majority, the most of money you could make, it's probably stock market. And probably a year from now, it could be real estate. And hey, you know what? I know so many people who want to buy a house they dream and looking for the house of their dream and they can't find it. And the reason why they can't find it because either it doesn't exist or they don't have the money to buy it. So how about that? Buy a house of not your dream. Buy a house of the dream of your tenants. Mm-hmm. And make sure you have the money to buy a house of your dream.
Nice.
So you don't have to buy a house in the city that you live. You don't have to buy a house in the state that you live. Hey, you don't have to buy the house in the country you live. You have to buy a house when it doesn't make sense. So it's always, your mindset should be how I can make more money to finance what I really want. Okay, I don't want don't give me $1,000 to buy iPhone. How am I gonna make this $1,000 out of my investment? What should I invest? Invest to get the passive income. Is it real estate? Yes. What if you don't have money to real estate? You know what? There's a place you can buy a house for $10,000 in this country, and if you don't have $10,000, you can always get the mortgage with $300 down payment, and the rest of the government will subsidize you, 97% loan, right? There's always a way. You need to start. You can't figure out by sitting and reading books. You need to start, make mistakes. Ideally, you have a mentor, somebody who's done it before, right? You do small steps to figure out, to pace yourself, to see how you feel about that, because everybody's different, right? And you move on and you learn from mistakes and you're going on.
You're saying that there are patterns in the market, and in the last 3 financial crises, there's been a certain pattern that it operates within this pattern. So if you now know what the pattern is, you've recognized the pattern, then you can capitalize on the pattern. That's basically what you're saying? Is that right? Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that. So now let's move forward, because let's say now I have an actor who's been acting for a while. They've been doing the thing where they're working at a restaurant to make money so they can finance their dream. Now, and they come to you and say, hey, I'm tired of working in a restaurant. I want to, I'm going after my dream. I'm taking classes and I'm paying for my classes, but I'm tired because I'm up 20 hours a day and I'm only sleeping 4 hours a day because 8 hours at work, 8 hours of focusing on my craft. And they say, can you give me a better strategy? What would you do?
Well, first of all, let me ask a question. If you're an actor or if you're a potential actor, do you believe they have a skill? Do you believe they have a talent? If you do believe you have a talent, why you put yourself with the people and try to do the job of people who don't have a talent? I mean, to be waiter, with all respect to people, I was waiter myself when I was in military, side jobs. With all respect, it's not very skilled job, require a lot of talent. So what I'm saying is, look at yourself and look very carefully what you can do now, because you're tired not because you're working. You're tired because you work in job you don't like.
Mhm.
If you will love your job, if I tell you, you know what, you have to work 14 hours there as an actor, I bet you will feel different about that, right? So what you can do, forget the money. I promise money will come. What in ideal war you can do as a job now when you're not doctor? Maybe you want to teach something. Maybe you want to teach, I mean, you want to be creative, right? Maybe you want to teach students that just like down the path and you already have more experience, you already know something, because everybody has some skills. Think about this, what skills you have that you enjoy to teach and to implement. Don't just go over the mindset, well, I'm not a lawyer, so I have to be a waiter or a taxi driver. No. Okay, if you have a brain to get into law school, you have a brain to figure out a better job. If you're actor, you have a skill to be creative. You shouldn't be looking to be waiter unless you're really dying and there's no food. Like when I was in this point, when I came to this country, I was pushing myself all the time to the point that I always have like last $100, $200, $300, and I refused to take just any job. I said, I'll push it till the end and something will come. And guess what? Always something came because I was sitting long enough and looking for the opportunities. I was refusing to go and work for $6,000, wash my dishes, because I understood $6 doesn't going to change my life. I need the $6 to eat. If I have money to eat, I don't go to this job because this job not going to make me rich. It's not going to it's not going to move me anywhere. So I'm going to buy my time and I'm going to figure out something better than that. Because the low paid job, the problem is it's not that you not get any money out of it. The problem is it screws your brain and your mentality. You stop looking. You live in the matrix. Little money and your career, little money and your career. That's how we move, and that's you get tired very, very quick.
Mm-hmm. That is the crazy eight that actors go through. They try to make a little bit of money, go focus on the career, come back, stop, go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Make money, go on the career. Make money, go on the career, and don't.
You can afford that in your profession. You can do it other thing. You cannot do it in your profession. I don't believe so. At least I don't know you, but that's what I believe. I believe that being an actor is something that you have to start and stop. You can't take breaks. If you put 5 years in it and you quit for 3 years or for 5 years, I think it's worth nothing. You're done.
Yes.
You can't afford to do that.
I agree with you. Once you start, you have to keep going. So what do you say to an actor when after you've said that to them, what they're gonna say is, well, I have to eat. And you just said, well, starve and figure it out. And they said, well, I gotta eat. I have to pay. I got bills to pay. I got rent to pay.
No, I never say get starved, and because like when you starve, you physically can't go. When you're starving, you can do both things. You cannot work, make more money, and you can act. You can learn.
Let me rephrase that. You have an actor, and what do you say to them when they say, you tell them that, you give them that, and they say, hey, you know what? That's all great. And I have bills to pay. I got to pay rent. I got a cost of living that I got to focus on. I can't sit and wait for an opportunity to show up. I have to get up and go take on the world and make something happen. And that's me working as a waiter or waitress. What do you say?
So I would say, you know what? Take a break from your path, from your dream. And I know it sounds brutal, and I don't know how much is crucial. You tell me you're in a profession, maybe months is okay, or maybe 2 months is okay, or maybe 3 months is okay. Go and make the money as a waiter. So you just remove this thought, this mindset that you have to have money, have to work. You want to buy yourself peace of mind, no matter how you do that, right? If you need to stop for a little bit, because I don't believe in starving artists. It's good maybe 19th century or 18th century, right? In our times, you need to keep going. You need to be active. You need to promote yourself. You need to market yourself, right? You need energy for that, mental energy. And mental energy comes from peace of mind that you covered.
Okay.
And if tomorrow you're not waiter anymore, no problem. I still have money for 3 more months. Okay, so I kept going 3 more months and I stopped worrying. I start worrying 2 months down the road. Not now, but I have an appointment of my time. I have a chance to meet Sylvester Stallone, but I need to go to be waiter because, my money is I'm out of the money today. You don't want to get to this. You don't know when your opportunity will show up. So you want to be ready to opportunity. You want to have enough money and right mindset when opportunity shows up, because you don't know when it's going to happen. You want to make sure you have it prepared.
I agree with you. Right now, I believe, like, for example, during this crisis right now, I believe that we as artists, as creative individuals, we need to focus on what we can do so when this is over, we hit the ground running. And that's why for me, I've been focused on, the books that I'm writing. I've been focused on the scripts that I'm working on. I've been focused on the business, like, for example, the movie that we're going to do and the production company that we have going on. So I've been focused on all of that just to make sure that everything we're setting the stage. So when this is over, we hit the ground running. So I totally agree with you that you definitely need to prepare yourself. Now, let's talk about your story when you first bought your Bitcoin, because you bought Bitcoin and before most people knew about Bitcoin, and you've done extremely well with Bitcoin. You became very successful with Bitcoin. I mean, when I know you as the Bitcoin guy, a lot of people know you as the Bitcoin guy. Now, I want to get into the state that you had to be in to purchase the Bitcoin at the time, because at the time when you purchased Bitcoin, I'm pretty sure you didn't know much about it, and you didn't know. Well, you could share with me and correct me if I'm wrong. My hallucination is that when you bought Bitcoin, you didn't know it was going to be as successful as it became.
Absolutely not.
So what's the story that keeps you moving forward, and what's the state where you in? Because you bought Bitcoin when it was at a time when no one really knew what Bitcoin was. Not a lot of people had Bitcoins, but you went into like an alley or a house, went to a basement. It's a dark area, creepy area of Chicago, and you're like, you know what, I can get robbed here. But you still went forward to go buy this Bitcoin, something that you didn't know much about. Tell me your story right now.
Well, when I was here, first of all, and that's the thing, sometimes the smart people are the most dumbest, and the dumbest the most smart. So I kind of be lucky to keep my childish approach to life, and I'm taking things at the face value and evaluate it. Like, there is no hidden agenda. There is no, we can talk about this. We can talk about everything, and we can bring anything to the table. So when somebody tell me, hey, there is a new cool thing, what if I would tell you that somebody create electronic money, which is not controlled by government, which has limited supply, so there is no inflation, right? And you can transfer from point A to point B in a seconds, any amount of money with almost zero commission, and it's anonymous. I was like, what? It doesn't sound right. And the guy said, yeah, I know it doesn't, but what if? I said, you know what? If this is the truth, I'm all in. Tell me more. And people have nothing to tell me more because nobody knew. I just tell you, I was in Chicago, and the whole city was only 2 people who had Bitcoins in the whole city, right? And it was very fine to find those people also. And I said, you know what? I might try what it is. Like, I can't, like, I'm not technical savvy. They start explaining how it works, and there's a code, and there's all this jargon of IT people, which is, my background is history and finance. I have zero background in technology. And it's like, you know what? Let me start learning by doing. So finally, I find the guy who tell me, because how you can buy Bitcoin if you can find anybody who sells Bitcoin. So what people were doing, they will find somebody online, and they were sending them check for like $20. You never know the person, right? You send them the check, and the guy send you the QR code, the big numbers with your Bitcoin, and then you go to online and you put the numbers, and you got your Bitcoin to your wallet. Sounds crazy, right? So you have to believe so. But hey, what you can do? There's nobody else you can find, right? So I find the guy who actually have Bitcoin. I met the guy. It's kind of not, I wouldn't say the worst neighborhood of Chicago, but not the best one. And we kind of text and whatever, and who are you? Like, because everybody was scared. And I was like, okay, what's your name? All right, come in. Did you get the money? And I had like $2,000 or whatever, or $1,000, I don't remember. I said, yeah, well, show me the money. Show them the money, just like in the movies. And it's just like, okay, let's go to the basement. All right, let's go to the basement. I went to the basement and I see the guy with all these computers. He was mining Bitcoins at this time. But this time, Bitcoin was very easy to mine, not like nowadays. Now it's a huge, huge, thousands superpower computers. Over there, it was like very little computers. And I see these computers and everything. And it's like, okay, take a seat. All right, so how much you want to buy? And we start talking. And from the 20 minutes transaction when it's supposed to be, it became 7 hours of conversation.
Wow.
I was asking questions. He gave me some magazine, which is now it's like very expensive. Like I think the last time I saw the magazine is Bitcoin magazine issue #1. Last time I saw it on eBay for $700. He gave it to me for free. It was, the very first Bitcoin magazine. And I went home. George, I couldn't sleep for a week. My mind was like, oh my God, I can't believe in that somebody came with this idea. I need to talk to everybody with my friends. It's a great opportunity. And guess what? I did. I went to all my friends and I told them about this opportunity. And guess what? Nobody bought it. Not even one person.
Wow. So you got this guy, he tells you, you got the money. And then he talks about, let's go into the basement. What's going through your mind at that time?
What is my chances? Like, what is the worst case scenario? The guy probably, if you want to rob me, he probably won't kill me. So the worst case scenario, I'm going to lose $2,000.
Okay.
Because, most people don't get killed for $2,000, let's face it, right? Especially like nowadays, there's a tracking, there's text message between me and him, right? So the worst case scenario, I'm out of $2,000. The best scenario, and actually happened, it became a business partner for 7 years.
So that's basically what you were thinking. That was where your mind was. It's like, maybe I can make this guy my business partner, or did that come in after?
No, it came down the road, maybe 6 months down the road, because there's a ice we need to break, especially like he was very suspicious. He was very protective, I was very open, but my idea was, well, how many choices do I actually have? I have only 2 people in Chicago who have Bitcoins. I need to meet one of them, right? I don't have a choices, or I can just say, you know what? I don't buy Bitcoins. But how I don't buy Bitcoins if I know that I want it because I thought the technology is so great.
At the time when you bought Bitcoins, what were Bitcoins worth? One Bitcoin?
The very first one I bought like for $70.
$70. Wow.
And I started talking to the guy, it was 14. And by the time we agreed to meet, it was 70. I was pissed off. George, remember the story, next time we want to buy Tesla, right?
Yes.
It has done double. It's like triple, quadruple, right? And I still bought it, right? Because I wanted, I thought it's the right thing to do. So don't regret it's something you could buy for Apple for $20, You at the moment now, you have to make decision as for now what you do with your life, not what happened before. So right. I was pissed off. Yeah, it was $14, $70. You know what? And then it went to 90, I remember. And friends of Hashem was like, "Oh my God, you made great money. Don't you want to sell it?" I was like, "Why? What do you think? Are you like real believe it's going to go to $100? Like, are you insane?"
I said, "Can you ever say that to you?"
Right, and I said, "Look, she was my roommate." I said, "You know what? If it went from 14 to 70, why don't you make it to 100?
Well, I gotta ask, when it started going up, when it reached 100 stuff, when did you say, "Hey, I'm going to sell," or not sell? Because I know you still own Bitcoin right now, and you have a ton of Bitcoin, and you
not as much as I wanted.
yeah, you have more than I do. So, okay, so the thing is that you have Bitcoin, and you're still into Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is like you watch the market, you don't really worry about the market if it goes up or goes down. I understand if I bought it at $70 and it's at $7,000 from 20,000, I wouldn't be worried about it either. You bought Bitcoin at $70, and it goes up and it's almost reaching $100, and your roommate is telling you sell. Hey, you know what? You think it's going to go any higher? Sell. And you're like, no, I'm not going to sell. And you decide to hold on. I mean, you rode the wave from $70 to about $20,000. And being that you did that, my question for you is, did you ever sell, or did you just keep it?
Of course, like how I finance all this lifestyle that you have, my apartments in Chicago, anytime that I can see you with the events of Tony Robbins, I mean, I don't work for 10 years. So obviously I was trading because I was buying and selling coins all the time. That's how I was making living. But the point is that there was no regrets. I mean, I sold a lot of coins in around $1,000,
Mhm.
right? But I bought it back at 1,200, 1,300 because I thought it's a peak. I cash out. I was wrong. I didn't beat myself. I'm wrong. And once again, I'm on a game. Next time it was Bitcoin reached like I think 7 or 8. I said, okay, it's gonna go to 10, but it's not gonna go to 10, 10. It's gonna crash before. I'm becoming nervous. Let me sell. I sold 7 and 8. I was all the way in at 11,500, I believe. I bought it back.
So, oh, okay. So when you sold some, or you sold all of it?
No, I never saw all of it because my life experience taught me that I can be wrong.
Okay.
And I don't want to gamble. People call me gamble because I put money in Bitcoin. I say you are a gambler, the one who's selling money, because you gambling and Bitcoin never going to go up.
Mm.
You know, I'm gambling that in my lifetime, you know, I'm not dying tomorrow, Bitcoin will cost more than it costs now. So I gambling on next 40, 50, whatever years. You gambling at this particular moment today, that today is the biggest, best price Bitcoin on the universe, and you want to out. So you are more gambler than I'm gambler.
Okay.
I think it's more secure to hold Bitcoins, to hold stock, than to sell stock and to sell Bitcoins, because that means you in the darkest moment of your life, you believe Tesla will never go to $1,000 or $2,000,
No,
right?
I believe Tesla's going to go that high. I definitely believe Tesla's going to go that high. I just wanted to get it at a lower price. That's all. I
Don't be
want to buy
greedy.
it so high. That's all.
Don't be greedy and don't judge yourself. Again, I was like, think about this. Same person sold coins at 800 just to buy it back in the month for 12.
Mm. Yes, exactly. You sold it at, he said 800, and then you bought it back at 12. So some people are going to say that that's hustling backwards. Yeah, how are you going to sell it at 8 and then buy it at 12? You just put 4 more thousand into it. So
That's okay. It's fine. You play statistic. You save and you try to play safe. What if, I could be wrong at any time. You know, everything that I'm saying, I could be wrong. Every time that I do something, I ask myself questions. What if I'm wrong? What if it's really top? What if Bitcoin will never reach more than $1,000? All right. So some of them I still kept. I bought it in $70. But you know what? If I'm wrong, then I have a little bit of money to live on, right?
mhm.
So same happened with $10,000. When it was $20,000, for me, hey, it was fifth wave in my history of Bitcoin. I knew it's going to crash. I told to everyone, my friend, do not touch it. Guess what? No,
Yes.
same people who didn't listen to me 7 years ago to buy Bitcoins, he didn't listen to me not to buy Bitcoins.
Yeah, I remember when you told me the same thing. You said, "Hey, right now, I think when I spoke to you, Bitcoin was at $7,000, and I was like, hey, it's at $7,000. Just last year, you told me it was at 600, and now it's at $7,000. Should I buy?" And he's like, "No, it's up to you. Can you risk losing $7,000? Are you okay with losing $7,000?" And I said, "Okay, well, do you believe it's going to go up?" And you're like, I don't know if it's going to go up. You know, for the history of Bitcoins, it's been going up, so it's probably going to go up. And so when you told me that, I didn't buy. And then next thing I know, boom, it shoots up to 1,700, or well, with 12, and then it went to 1,700. I was like, whoa, maybe I should have bought. And you know, when I spoke to you again, you did tell me, yeah, it's probably going to crash, and that's why I didn't buy.
Well,
And
this is simple. Every truck driver or every tax driver talk to you about Bitcoin, you know better. You shouldn't touch it.
mhm,
I was selling in $20,000. I actually started selling in 14. I was selling all day long. selling 8 hours a day, selling, for a cash, an exchange, whatever. I don't think I could sell. I actually had more because everybody was doing the same. Most places was overwhelmed. You couldn't actually sell. How many people? The pressure of sellers was so big. You guys don't see it, but so many people try to move money out to get cash because everybody knew it's going to crash. Wow. And it's like, you can't believe people don't get it. Because I felt bad to people who bought it.
But you were in the end. You had started with Bitcoin when it first started. I mean, you're going to a basement and this guy is mining Bitcoin in his basement. You can't do that today. Now they have huge factories that mine. And at that point, you're going to a basement and this guy got a couple of computers and he's mining Bitcoin. And it's taking him probably, I know for mining Bitcoin with a couple of computers, probably going to take you a whole day or 2 days to just mine one Bitcoin.
It's a factory, like a machine factory. While they, that's like, it goes by block, every block Bitcoin distributes a certain amount of coins in the system. So now the whole world fighting every time for 12 Bitcoins. Every time that the system it released to all computers in the world, only 12 Bitcoins. It's not a lot of money. It's $100,000. You see, so all these computers fight for this, to getting this reward, which is, in this time, it was, I think, 60 Bitcoins a day. Wow. For very little amount of people who actually doing this. So the supply was bigger and the demand was very slow. So this guy was loaded. I don't know how much coins he has.
So would it be a good bet to mine a Bitcoin instead of just buying it?
Not anymore. Again, like, think about the philosophy of what I told you about Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. You're not mining. It's a complex technology operation. You don't want to risk it. You don't want to go and learn something that you don't know, right? If you think it's a good idea, you need to partner with the companies. Mining companies have on the market 3, 5, 6 years. There are some of them, and invest money with them. They're selling mining contracts. Don't go to any scheme. Don't go to any shady on internet. Something, hey, you want to invest money in the mining? Give me the money. Always check reputation of the person who you talk to. There's a Bitcoin is already more than 10 years. It's actually old, right? It's still new for a lot of people, but for us, it's old, right? So there's a reputation in the space, right? There's somebody can trust, there's somebody who can, right? You can check it out.
I want to thank you because this has been a great talk. I just want to say one more thing is I think we've covered this a little bit, but I want to get back to the psychology of how you take someone and give them a strategy for success to create passive income. Can you tell me a little bit about how you do that?
Well, first of all, the biggest shift you have to do, and you shift from consumer society to investors, to consumer's mindset to investor's mindset. So every time that you go, and I'm not saying to be, this is the problem. People say, oh, well, you teach me not to buy latte in a Starbucks, say $4. But hey, I enjoy the Starbucks. I don't want to be like live in a scarcity and limit myself. I'm saying the whole mindset about this $4 Starbucks is totally wrong. You don't have to feel bad about saving this $4. You have to understand, do you want this $4 in your pocket or in the pocket of shareholders of Starbucks? If you want to make it sweeter or nicer, go buy a share of Starbucks and enjoy your latte. But at least the good mindset, every time that you take your money and put somebody else's money, you take the money that you work for, you spend your lifetime that you're never going to get back, and you put it in the pocket of somebody who is a shareholder who enjoyed home, do nothing, and just collect the dividends. Every time that you buy something, it's like that. So instead of being in a situation, I have to save because I'm poor and I feel scarcity and I feel like, that I'm limited, I feel very empowered by saving. I feel the honor of the charge. This is my life. This is my money. And I decide to invest this money in Tesla, not in Starbucks. So I'm not buying this $4 coffee. I get my own coffee, and instead of choice of putting this in Starbucks, I'll put it in Tesla. I'll put it somewhere else. I'll put it in my house, And when you don't come with the approach of saving, but come with the approach with investment, meaning that this $4 that you save in Starbucks, it's not just in your pocket. It goes right away when it's supposed to go. Okay, something which is going to create you more money. You feel very empowered, very strong about that.
What you just said for me just did this for me. It got me to thinking, there's something called the Latte Factor, and you talked about latte, going to Starbucks and buying a latte, but instead of buying the latte, taking that money from the latte, and you can still enjoy a cup of coffee, but go somewhere else that you can get a cup of coffee that's cheaper, or making your coffee at home and taking that money for the latte and invest it into something like Tesla.
Right. When you save $4 and you have extra $4 in your wallet, it goes fast. You'll spend it on food next second, right? You'll spend on something else. If you say, okay, this is $4 and it's specifically $4, I put it in Tesla, you will feel much better. You know why you don't spend money.
Got it.
Like,
All right. So,
it's not just whole idea of saving money. You're gonna feel specific why you do that.
what you want someone to do is to shift their mindset into a position where it becomes, I am taking my money and making sure that my money works for me. So instead of taking this money and spending it on this latte, I'm going to take it and put it here so it can make more money that I can then eventually, if I want to splurge in a latte, I have this money, making the money first. So I have the money, go make the money, and then come back so I can spend the money.
And psychologically, again, like I told you with the gas, the same idea with the Starbucks, it's not necessarily the most smart economical move, but it's very helpful psychologically wise. You go to Starbucks every day, hell, you know what? Skip the Starbucks. Buy the Starbucks share. So next time you go to Starbucks, you know that eventually you're paying yourself. You spend the money when your money at.
And that just reminded me of a story. I had heard of a story at one point that this kid, he was doing really well in the stock market. And he was, at the time, I think he was like 14 or 15. His mother, he wanted a pair of Nike sneakers. And his mother said, hey, if you're going to go ahead and get the sneakers, you need to own stocks in the company. So she bought stocks for him in Nike. And by the time he was like in his 18, 19, he had become very, very successful as an investor, because he was looking at anything that he wanted, he was investing in. And it makes sense, because you look at it, you invest in Nike sneakers and you're a child and you're about 14, 15 years old, you got Nike. So you know that every kid that's out there that's buying Nike is somehow paying you.
Definitely.
And it's a different mindset to have as a kid. He was very successful at this point when they talked to him about this, because he was investing in things that he believed in and that kids believe in, that other kids were looking at and going into. So he was investing. So Nike was one of his things. He owned a lot of Nike stocks by the time he was like 19, 20, just because of the fact that he saw that I can make money with this. Because as I buy a Nike pair of sneakers, I have actually invested in myself. And that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
I definitely get it. The psychology is to get the money, to go work for you, make some money, and then you can spend the money in something else.
The moment you're going to buy your first stock in Starbucks, next day you're going to approach the Starbucks, you're going to feel different about that. I guarantee you that. Because every time that I see Tesla on the road, it makes me happy. I don't have Tesla.
You don't have a Tesla, but you own Tesla stock. So
right. And every time I hear somebody talks about Bitcoin, it makes me happy. Even it's not my Bitcoin, it's your Bitcoin. If you tell me I have Bitcoin, I'm happy for you because I'm happy for myself. It's one person who pursued the same dream.
This is a beautiful thing. And the reason why I say it's a beautiful thing is I'm always looking at what's the driving force that makes you do what you do. Ever since I met you, I was like, I got to interview Joe. I got to talk to Joe, because Joe has an extraordinary mindset. He has a mindset that it's an investor's mindset, and it's something that intrigues me. But I'm also saying, what drives him to do what he does? Ever since I've known you, you're traveling around to different locations. I mean, right now you're in Puerto Rico because you're looking at investing in Puerto Rico. And you tell me that that's a great market right now. This is what you do. You've been able to create a lifestyle, which I believe that that's ultimate freedom, to have the freedom to travel, be, and do whatever you want at whenever you want. I mean, right now you're in Puerto Rico. And if you want to be in Chicago tomorrow, I mean, I wouldn't say to go to Chicago because where we at now, but if you wanted to, you could be there doing whatever you want to do.
The biggest mistake that people do to think money means happiness. Let me work on money. It will make me happy, which is the truth. It's just the opposite. If you're happy, you make money. If you're sad, you don't. At least from an investment point of view. When you're obsessed for the money, you want to make money in the stock market, you lose.
And so that takes me to where I was talking about the state, because we have to figure out what the state of mind is that you're in that gets you to invest. And for you, it's being happy. But I also see that when people talk about Bitcoin, it makes you happy. When you see a Tesla, it makes you happy because you invested in the Tesla. So it's all wrapped in. So it goes into there's a feeling that you're going after. Would you say that's the driving force? Is it
Correct. I would say the driving force is the seed that you, the thing that you believe other people believe, and collaboration between people. So every time I always go to Bitcoin conference, and people say, Joe, how much you can go to this conference? It's the same people for 7 years, and you talk the same thing over and over. I say, yeah, but it gives me confirmation I'm not alone. There's a crazy idiots like me who believed one day it's going to go to $1,000 or maybe $2,000. And sure enough, it happened, right? And now we're talking even bigger number. Again, I don't know if it's going to happen. But again, when you meet people which have the same mindset like you, it helps you keep going. Bitcoin went down 80% more than 3 times.
Okay.
And people said, how do you feel about losing 80% of your wealth? I said, I didn't feel anything bad. And this is the truth, because I learned from very, very beginning, separate my own money and my investment money. My own money, it's the money that I go to the grocery store and I need to pay my rent. And this is real money, right? Investment money, it's just the numbers in your bank account. It has nothing to do with my life. When I was super poor, I still had meal 3 times a day, okay? And I still went to the library for free, and I was reading books. And when I made it, I was still eating 3 times a day, just better food. And I just started collecting books with the autograph of famous people, right? But nothing changed. So I'm not going crazy when I'm making it, but I'm not suppressing myself when I'm poor. I don't have this emotional helicopter, go up, go down, oh, I make it, I'm rich, I'm poor. I don't have that. Yes. I live a life. I just got better life, but I got the same life no matter if I have money or I don't.
That's another thing that I want to talk to you about. You just reminded me is with you talk about this is a mindset that you have. I was like, if you can teach someone how to do this, bottle this up and put it, you can make a lot of money with it. And that was just my joke with you, but it's really true. You have a mindset that, hey, you know what? I have money in the stock market. This money drops. It's okay. I'm going to make it back up the next day.
Because it's not your money to start with. Mm-hmm. It's not your money. It's investors' money.
When you just said the investors' money, it's funny because it reminded me of a conversation that we had where because you're not always right. No one's always right in this thing. Is you had thought that you had a really good deal, and you had all these friends of yours give you money, and they gave you money because they all trusted you, and then you put that money into a company that tanked the next day. You went to sleep.
Right, you're talking about the historic history of Matkax, the very first Japanese company, the very first ever company which was selling Bitcoins on a large scale, only one. And when they start collapsing, they try to negotiate with Japanese, and I was presenting a deal of quite big group of investors, try to negotiate to buy shares, because the bets was like, hey, for every Bitcoin, you can buy Bitcoin 20 cents on the dollar. It's like no brainer, and this should have assets. It's like number one company in the world, only one company in the world. So I was wrong. I lost money, not a lot, but substantial amount. A lot of people lost money. So yeah, I was wrong. So yes, you can be wrong.
You had money of friends that you lost, and it was something that was very powerful that you did. What you did was say, hey, you know what? I called everyone and said, hey, I lost your money, but don't worry about it. I'll pay you back.
Absolutely, because that's how we keep going. Your reputation and your reputation and what you are and who you are is the biggest asset you have. If you have no name, if you have no standards, if you have no morals, you're not able to produce money. It's not sustainable. You can't defraud people. You can lie to people. You can be a dishonest person. It just does not work. It maybe works in your industry. In the movies, people see, the guy did something and he became a millionaire. In the real world, no. It's a hard work, or if it's not hard work, it's a smart work. But to be honest, to be persistent, to be consistent is the most important.
What you told me is that whenever you approached these people and said, hey, I lost the money, they were okay with it. and you said, I'm gonna pay you back, they all gave you time to pay them back. And you paid them back. You made the money and paid them back. And you took that debt and said, hey, you guys didn't lose any money. I lost the money. And I'm gonna go ahead and make it back. And you made it back. How long did it take for you to pay them back?
A couple of years.
And throughout that time, what was the mindset that you win? What did you tell yourself that kept you going to make sure that you made this money back for them?
It was very simple. If I don't pay, if I don't stand by my words, if I don't do what I said I'm gonna do, if I'm not paying these people back, that's who I am. You know, like how I can ask for more money, how I can ask for loans, how I can ask people to invest in myself and what I'm doing if I don't pay those people. You have to be consistent with who you are. I mean, that's who I am. That's who I am. You know, this is like core of my beliefs. That responsibility is ability to respond, right? If something happened, you open your mouth and you respond. You say, this is the situation, that's what it is, and that's what I decide to do, okay? And we knew the risk, right? And this was the risk, and I was the one who said the risk. So I'm the one who's going to be responsible for that. I didn't take outrageous risk. I didn't take some money that I couldn't pay for 20, 30, 40 years. I paid in 2 years. It's
Okay.
reasonable, okay? So Bitcoin was down for 2 years. Sure enough, after that, it shoot up 10 times more.
I'm asking because of the simple fact that, like I said, it takes a different psychology to do that. Because these people, what they did is they invested, they took their money and said, here, Joe, invest it for us. So they automatically, in doing that, they took the risk because there's a risk associated with investing. So when this whole thing crashed, this deal crashed, you had a way to say, or you had a way out. You could look at it. Some people would look at it and say, hey, you know what? We invested in this market. We invested in this. You asked me to invest in this, and it crashed. But you took it personally and said, hey, you know what? I lost the money. You didn't lose any money because you invested in me. So you haven't lost your money because I'm still alive. So I'm going to go ahead and make this money back for you. And you did it in 2 years.
Well,
Now,
it's very simple. No matter what you say, a deal is a deal. If you can't stay by your words, if you can't deliver what you promise, it's a major problem with your psychology as a human being.
mm,
It's not you lying to somebody, it's not you cheating somebody, you're cheating lying to yourself. Because what you did to other people, you're gonna do it to yourself. I promise you.
mm.
You're gonna play with yourself the way you play with other people. You're gonna say, "Oh, it doesn't matter." I said I'm gonna wake up every day to cold shower. Never mind. You know, I never said that. You're not gonna do cold shower. That's how you're gonna treat your own obligations to yourself. So it's very dangerous path. And I'm not being like righteous or be moral or be a good person. I'm talking as a purely selfish. As a selfish person, you want to have core beliefs that you go by, because if you're not doing that, it's going to fight you back. You're going to become a different person. You're going to become weak. You're going to become a person who doesn't keep its own words for himself. And there is no progress, and there is no fulfillment, and there is no way to go anywhere.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, there's two things that I want to do before we conclude this. So the first thing is I want you to actually take me through how you would evaluate, let's say a stock. Let's say you are going to go and decide, hey, I'm going to buy Tesla, or I'm going to buy Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. You're going to buy a stock. And what do you do first when you're looking at the stock? And I'm not talking about the strategy as far as like what's the steps that you take, but I'm talking about mentally in your mind. What do you go through to decide to pull the trigger?
All right. So first of all, look at the market condition. Like 2 months ago, before all this market crashed, I was out of stock market. Everything was still good. Everybody was happy. So I said, what is the market condition? Too much optimism, I don't like. I was out of stock market for years. I was doing only cryptocurrency, right? Why? Because everybody was super optimistic. So you always try to take care that you not go with the crowd. When everything crashed, I started come back. So first of all, I need to understand what's the market condition. Like Tesla not going to do very well, but people are going to be hungry and shooting each other for the food, right? And because you don't see it happen, obviously that's why the market is going up. So this is the first thing. Second thing after market condition is you need to have good feeling for the stock. You need to believe in the company. You need to understand on a very personal level. And you tell me, well, Joe, you're professional, and you tell me like I'm the guy who has no background in finance should feel for the company. Like how, like my feeling good about Tesla should make me move to buy the Tesla. It doesn't make sense. Like you're supposed to have those numbers. And I say, yeah, George, you're right. But think about this. Bottom line, everybody is a consumer. Tesla has nothing but cars for the sell to people like you and me. If you don't like Tesla, and I don't like Tesla, Tesla has no sales, and the stock going down. So you need to have a feeling as a person and what people around you like. You know, and obviously Tesla is more likable but average person than Ford, I would say, right? So this is the second thing. Market condition, what do you feel about the company? Third one, you want to see if it gets to the point that everybody talks. If everybody talks Tesla, if everybody talks Bitcoin, and I'm talking about not people who like active in the market, but you talk about people who just never invest, it's probably not a good idea. It's probably too late. Okay. So this is like three major psychology component, I would say.
Thank you. All right. So the last thing I want to ask you is my audience is it's a lot of actors that look at what I'm doing. And if you were talking to them, what would you say to them, the actor that's at the bottom? Because when you're an actor, you're either at the bottom or you're at the top. And when you're at the bottom, you need to get the finances to help you get to the top. What would you say to someone that's coming in? How do you, I mean, I know you said, hey, take a year or two and strategically find ways to have finances that will support your art, your craft. What would you say to them? What psychology do they have to have in order to sustain their dream that they're looking to achieve?
Look at your life like a chess game. You're just an actor in this life, or just a player. What do you need to sacrifice to get what you need to get done? I mean, it's all play. In the end of the day, you know, everybody's going to die, and nothing is going to really matter in 300 years from now, right? For anyone who lives on the earth now, right? So it's all game. So take it easy, take it playful, and go for the enjoyment. Don't try to save money in a suffering state that you have to save money and you have to limit yourself. It's not going to work. It's not work because one day you're going to just blow up the whatever you said. You're going to go drink and you're going to do something else, right? Your mindset should be no. I'm not constructing. I'm not limiting myself. I'm building up. I'm building up my dream. Look at the people like Nelson Mandela 3 years in jail. Look at the other people. They had a dream and they were willing to what we call sacrifice, but it didn't feel like the sacrifice. Trust me, they didn't. They were so focused where they're going and what they need to get there. They didn't care about what happening now. I just had this. I just saw this video of Nathan Sharansky, one of the guys who sat in Soviet prison for like 9 years because he tried to immigrate to Israel, and authorities didn't let him go. And people asked him how you survived the 7 years in prison. He said, well, very simple. I didn't want to have a hope it's going to end tomorrow because I didn't know when it's going to be end. I was focused on the future. I didn't focus on the process. I didn't focus, oh my God, they're supposed to let me go tomorrow. I was focused on the process. When I'm going to be free, I'm going to go to the place I want to go. So you're not focusing on the process. It's just like, you know, when you want to cross the firewalk, you're not crossing the fire, you want where you want to go. So you're so obsessed where you want to go, you don't care what happened to you now.
So have a strong vision.
Strong vision, like, yeah, you need to know where you go, and you need to know you're not alone. You need to know there's people on your path, okay? And you all go to the same thing. You're not unique, and there is not a hope. There's people who made it. The people were in your place, and they made it. So don't think your struggle is super unique and you're super special. No, everybody went to that, and everybody, you know, people got rewards of what they, on the public, what they did in the, you know, for the practice in the private. We don't know that. And I think in your profession, it's even more accurate than anybody else. You know, people got rewarded in the public for the struggle they did done in the private.
Nice.
So as you know, and you work in this field, in the craft, You know better. You don't buy the stories of overnight success. You know where you want to go. This is what it matters. What happened now doesn't matter at all.
Joe, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for having this conversation with me. And I hope that it adds a lot of value to the viewers of this interview. Thank you so much.